Hey Mike, David Moore, Dallas Morning News. What is your target for after you break the huddle, when you want the team up at the line? Do you have kind of a target period within the play clock?
It depends on what we're in. We have a standard huddle operation, but also, in the second half when you have the lead, you have a standard huddle operation now that you obviously want to take more time. And what I've learned over the years, and I think I complimented him yesterday. My God, jinxed it. Yeah, jinxed it. You ready? Good. All right. So, but also the biggest thing is keeping the quarterback into a rhythm. So if there's different ways of doing it. You don't. What I've found is you don't want the quarterback to sit in the huddle the whole time when you're trying to slow it down. And obviously, when you're speeding it up, you're going as fast as you can. So, but 27 seconds is usually a number that if you're at the line of scrimmage, by then you're clipping at a pretty good pace.
Well, plus the more time you're there, it allows him to read exactly what's down. I mean, it helps an offense be more decisive the quicker you get to the line, doesn't it?
Well, it really just increases your opportunities because you get there, you got more opportunity if you do want to take into disguise pre-snap read, but also you have cadence variation that plays into that. Yeah, you have play selection, run the pass the run, pass the pass, run the run. So that's a big part of it. It just gives you more opportunities to operate, in a wider scope of attack.
And last one on those follow. Does that vary with the experience of your quarterback? I mean, do you have different different target dates depending on where your team is?
No, absolutely. I mean, everything starts with the quarterback. It's about making the quarterback successful, and so yeah, all these decisions are part of what you do in the spring and how you build the vision of your offense. And just like anything, Dak's a starter, but it's important for the other two guys to train the same way he does because the cadence needs to be the same. The operation, the timing, because so much we do is about rhythm, time clock, pace of operation. So we spend a lot of time. There's a lot of time invested in that.
Clarence Hill, Star Telegraph. Quick injury update. Everybody good? Cooks, everybody good?
Everybody's good. Everybody, same as yesterday. Yep, so we're on the same path. Yep.
Your defense has been great except for some leaky quarterback runs. Can you just talk about having to face Dobbs this week and what that presents and how do you counteract that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, rush lane discipline's always part of it. And, and I think just like anything, you have stress points of, how you rush the passer. As far as your two-man combination games, your three-man, all those things play into it. Situational awareness. Why are we moving? Sometimes we're moving to stop the run. So I think when you're as active as we are, that's always going to be, part of the challenge, is the rush lane discipline. But the other part of it is, the amount of penetration and activity that we're able to create obviously speaks for itself. So, yeah, but it's definitely a focus. And I think it's just probably something next to run defense we'll be talking about every week because, we definitely have the ability to get there with four people.
Yeah, Michael said that they're kind of like running for their lives, but when you're chasing, they kind of open things up too when they're running for their lives. Those the quarterback.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just, quarterback runs are, a big part of, taking advantage of an active pass rush. It's something from the offensive perspective, that we've always studied where, as far as where do you think the rush lanes are going to be based off of a pattern or a tendency, particularly the individuals. So, whether it's a younger player, coming in for a veteran player that's established, we have calls that are out there just to make us aware of who the rushers are.
I'm Mike Todd Archer with ESPN. How's your play sheet evolved over the years? Were you a guy that had everything on it when you first started and it said it's too much, I got to pare it down, or how have you?
I think clearly. I mean, when I look at the play sheet, the play call sheet, I look at it more as a worksheet. And what I've learned, as a young coordinator, you would do everything yourself. So you felt like you needed everything with you. But the most important part, frankly, to put together a play call sheet is the connection between you and any other assistants. Because, and I've seen it both ways, and it's the reason why I do it the way I do it, because when you're the only guy doing it all and it's you're driving it, your communication during a game is limited because there's, the other assistants don't know where the hell you're at on the sheet. What are you thinking next? So the call sheet and the way we transcribe it brings us closer together. There's more conversation. Everybody has an area, of responsibility. So it's built. There's an investment. There's ownership in it. So I think it clearly makes your network and communication operate at a much higher level. So I think all of us that put together a game sheet, you probably need a front and a back is really to get through the normal D&D, third down, red zone, goal line, and so forth. But we have another 2 pages of just situational things that we invested a lot of time in, and it's more the exercise of keeping us all on the same page.
How many guys have it down there?
Well, that's inside information. So.
Is that different though? Is that something?
Oh, it's different. Yeah. I mean, in my earlier years, I never gave the assistants call sheet. I just gave them a list. Let them create their own list for the sideline. But what I've learned over time, this makes for a better communication network on game day.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. How would you assess the red zone offense right now, especially after looking at
Statistically,
overall the whole thing?
I mean, that's.
It's pretty good, right?
Why don't you just follow suit what I'm doing? I do not do any statistics until week 5. So even when we talk about the Cardinals, we talk about their reputation, what they've done, what we think they're going to do, but I don't think teams really establish themselves till after 4 weeks. So, but I think the biggest asset that we have as far as our red zone was the number of times we've been there. So we're definitely getting down there plenty. When we put in short yards and goal line today, so we actually watched the goal line again. So these are all excellent opportunities to learn from. The fact that we've had 6 goal line snaps, speaks volumes. I mean, I know some people don't even go into the big goal line packages anymore, but you could go on a normal, 13 or 14 plays the whole year. We've had 6. It's only week 2, so or 7 actually, last week. So there's positives in that.
So you look at when you evaluate that, my offensive line. I haven't had my projected offensive line, and that might affect some.
Well, I mean, but that's part of it. But I mean, you have to. I mean, all the other guys train too. It's why I call it a team. But yeah, we understand that, and and let's not forget, we've played against 2 really good defensive fronts too. So, but yeah, that's all part of it.
Skyler Dixon with the AP. When you're in the situation you were with kicker in the offseason, is your philosophy with the personnel side to be like, let me know when we have one, or do you like to communicate with them what you're looking for beyond the obvious? I want a guy.
I mean, the reality of it is there's communication on the whole roster, on a daily basis. I'll leave here, I'll walk through Will McClay's office, check in with him. So I mean, those conversations are ongoing. So, Brandon was someone that was targeted in the spring, and it's great that it worked out. But yeah, we're those types of conversations are ongoing. We're always trying to improve our roster. So.
Joe.
Joe Hoyt, Lone Star Live. You kind of talked about rhythm and with Dak. When did you know that he wasn't in a rhythm against the Jets?
I don't know. 13 for 13 was a pretty good sign. But no, I think the big thing is, when I look at rhythm, I don't really pay, I don't look as result. I think everybody does it differently, just from the individuals I know I've talked to over the years. Every coach has a job responsibility on game day, and with that, their eye discipline is of priority. And, the things I watch are really tied to the operation and the rhythm of the offense. So he was in rhythm as far as when the ball was coming out, his footwork and so forth, and forget about the results. So I thought he got off to a really fast start. I thought the scramble was a big play because, you need that play above the 2.3 because that's part of it too. It's a big part of each and every game. So, but you could see early that he was in a rhythm.
David.
Mike, earlier when we were talking about play calling and other people have the sheets, how much input do you solicit during the game on the clock, and how do you do that? Is it always you going to someone and asking, or if someone's in a certain area, do they say, hey, I saw this, or how?
Yeah, there's a system. Some people are good with talking, all the time. Some are not. I'm not a fan of wasted conversation or false chatter, or it's just my personality. So, I only need to hear it once. I only need to hear it 3 times because they're excited about it too. So I mean, and that's just, maybe I'm just getting old. I don't know, but no, but we I thought for first time staff, I thought the offensive guys did a really good job. I mean, it's it really starts at the end of the series. So we come off, everybody gets their their tablets, get to work, and there's constant conversation, and Brian's there with the quarterback, so he's on the mic because the conversation that he's having with the quarterback is it's important to me because I obviously I got to stay out there on the boundary, so that and then the O-line guys are working on the pass game, and then there's the pressure, anything with pressure, so everybody has a responsibility that you're evaluating the series that went on. Then there's information that comes out of that evaluation. Then it's my job to apply it. So once we have the ball, the only conversation that's really needed is if it's necessary, and it's common sense, So what defense do they have in? So it's very scripted, but we've only gone through it for 2 games. We had 2 games in the preseason, but it's nothing like the regular season. So. But that's something that we'll continue to improve on and grow on, and that's important because it's I always get a kick out when they talk about Todd makes fun of us for not making halftime adjustments. I mean, shit, if you wait till halftime, it might be too late. So, but I mean it's going on all the time. So.
So like, will Brian be the only one who's like when you're actually calling the plays, or other people can still if they say something?
Yeah, I mean, it's, Chase Hazlitt's in charge of the defense personnel. I mean, like I said, everybody has a role, and and there's been moments in the preseason where there was too much, and then there was moments where there wasn't enough too. And I think it's just part of the growth of a staff on game day. So I've done it long enough to clearly understand what I need to call the game, and I thought just for us being this early in our tenure together, I thought our guys did a really nice job. It's weeks 1 and 2.
Cal.
Talk about communication. How much do your analytics people talk to your players about what they're seeing, what they want, that kind of thing?
Well, they're integrated, and you got to remember they're new. I mean, and I think the timing of them being hired, was a real challenge. And I think John Park has done an outstanding job, pulling this staff together. And it's a diverse staff that has different backgrounds, what I really like. And we've actually asked some of them to go in an uncomfortable setting. If they worked on offense, we have them with defense. And if we worked, because I'm all about the growth of the staff, but we've totally integrated them in with our coaching staff, and they're definitely integrated into the player meetings because we won't utilize their skill set if we don't do that. So, but it's not a free for all either. I mean, they understand it. What their role is, but that's something I see to continue to grow. But I think timing is part of this initial plan. But they've definitely, you could feel their impact, and because it's just like anything, statistics can move the needle a little quicker during the preparation of week. It doesn't really save you steps, but I think it can make your process go faster.
Piggybacking on this for a second, how did that all develop, the expanding of the staff, and what role did you play in this new?
Well, I mean, just our organization is no different than others. You have departments, and it's really, it's really falls under the football operations, department. But obviously I'm in charge of all the job responsibility and job description. So how they're integrated was really, to sit down. Ryan Feeder is someone that has a strong background in that area. So, once we got the staff set, met with the coordinators, and we decided how we were going to integrate them into the coaching operations.
Is it your background, is this something you've always embraced, or how have you come along to this new reality of analytics?
Technically, that's how I got in the league in 1993. So they just didn't call it analytics back then. So, I was a quality control coach for the Kansas City Chiefs, and I had a Macintosh computer that was the only one in the building. I had to go off site to get it serviced. So, so that's because I drew all the plays. As I tell our quality control guys, I drew the runs, passes, and protections. So we break it up now. Is my point. But so it was. It's something that I think is frankly, I think every coach should go that route if you could ideally do it that way. I think there's thought process that you learn in quality control, the ability to learn defense and learn the whole scope of the game, learn the trends of the league, understand the history of the trends in the league. I think it's a phenomenal education. I think anybody that's worked in quality control and has worked their way up, I think it's a very bright spot on their resume that I know I pay attention to.
All righty.
All right, thank you.